Tamara here. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a Beanie Boo pouch. I got the idea when I was searching online and I found the Disney plushies, and the little baby Disney plushies were in these cute little pouches. Now I've got two boys, they're not too interested in a lot of stuffies, but they are interested in the Beanie Boo stuffies, so that's why I decided to make a template so that you could have your own little pouch for your Beanie Boo stuffies. These pouches can hang on the edge of their bed, they could hang on a scooter or a stroller and go for a walk with you. So I will link everything that you need to make this project down below. All right, let's get started. Alright, so once you have cut out all 3 pieces from the free PDF download, then take those pieces and lay them on top of folded fabric. Then cut out all 3 pattern pieces. That will make it so that you have 2 pieces of each pattern. Then take the pouch piece, which is the piece that looks like a half circle, put the right sides together, and then sew a 1/4 inch seam along the straight edge. Once you've sewn that 1/4 inch seam, then take the pouch, open it up, and then fold it in half wrong sides together. And then do one more 1/4 inch seam along that same straight edge. This will just make it so that the pouch has a nice flat edge. You can also press this with your iron before you sew along this seam to make it a little bit easier, but I found just pushing it together with my hands was enough. All right, so now that our pouch has that top seam sewn, we are going to move along to our cuddle arm. And you'll do the same thing. You'll take that cuddle arm fabric and make sure that the right sides are laying together. And once the right sides are laying together, then you want to sew a 1/4 inch seam along all of the edges except that flat edge. Keep that flat edge open so that you'll be able to turn your cuddle arm inside out again. And I do want to mention for any beginner sewers, when you come to a spot like the end of the cuddle arm where the curve is quite tight, it's easiest to just sew a few stitches forward and then lift your sewing foot up, turn the fabric, put the sewing foot back down, and then you can continue along your way. This will help with the cuddle arm as well as when you're doing the entire sandwiched piece together and you have to sew around the top parts of the ties. All right, so now you can just turn your cuddle arm right side out and use a pencil if you need to just straighten out that end. All right, so this part of the project is probably the most complicated part. Even though this is a simple sewing project, watch very carefully when you go through this part so that you don't miss any of the steps. So the finicky part is really just sandwiching these 3 pieces together. Your back pieces are still not sewn together. You've got your cuddle arm sewn properly as well as your pouch sewn properly. So now we will just take our back piece and we want to lay it right sides together. So I'm just going to match up these top pieces here, and then I want to lay my pouch inside the sandwich. The pouch's top edge is actually on an angle, and then when you add your cuddle arm, you want to add it just about an inch and a half above that angled piece of your pouch. Then just pin your cuddle arm in place so it doesn't move. And then fold your cuddle arm in and pin it. I suggest not using a clip like I do in this video here because it becomes too bulky. So if you actually just use a regular sewing pin, it will help out a lot. Then lay that next back piece on top and then start pinning all the way around the edges so that everything lines up. And of course, the reason why we pinned that cuddle arm folded like that is so that we don't end up sewing on it as we go around these 2 outer edge pieces. So I'm just going to use my little sewing clips for most of it, and then for the little ties, it'll be easier for me to use pins. And now you're ready to sew. So you will want to sew around the entire edge, leaving about a 3 inch space on the bottom that you are not going to sew. And you will sew this entire seam at a 1/4 inch. All right, so the most finicky part of this whole process is now over, and now I'm going to walk you through how to turn this thing inside out and finish the bottom. The first thing that you'll see is, of course, it's inside out. So you'll take a pencil. Now this is a trick that I discovered when I was making this. I took a pencil and I would use the eraser end to the pencil because it's got some grip and it would really help me pull it inside out. So I'll show you here. When you pull it inside out, you'll reach in, and the first thing that you'll do is you'll reach in for that little cuddle arm. And as you pull it out, you'll be reminded that you pinned it. So take that pin out. The only reason for that pin was to make sure that it didn't get sewn in with any of these seams. And then we will start turning it inside out until you get to this point here. Now, at this point, you'll see two holes. You'll see one on the top, one on the bottom there. And so you'll stick your pencil into that hole. All right, so I'm sticking it into that hole all the way to the very end, and then you can just nudge that end on through. And now you get to the part where the eraser is helpful because you kind of angle it up and then you twist it, you angle it some more, and you can get most of that piece out, which is great because then you can just take your pencil and you can put it back in, and voila, there is one of your ties. So we'll do the same thing with the other side. And there you are. So now you can tie that together now if you want, or you can do it at the end. Either way is fine. And now all we have to do is finish up the bottom as well as add our Velcro strips. So when you're finishing up the bottom, take the pouch itself. Oh, here, I'll try and show you. Take the pouch itself and turn it inside out. That way your cuddle arm is tucked inside the pouch. That will make it the easiest because then all you have to do is pin that open end, sew along the edge as close as you can, and then you can flip it right back out and it won't show that seam on the bottom. Now, there is one other way to do this, and that way is I actually will take, you see at the bottom here, you've got 4 pieces. So I'll just flip that back to the inside out position. And then I'll take 2 of them and I'll tuck them inside each other, creating a seam that you can sew. And then I'll do the same on the other side. So both will be tucked inside each other. You don't want to tuck them just folded in because that will make a big ugly seam on the front end, which you don't want. So I'll fold them all in that way, and then I'll sew along that edge. That way it will be sealed on the inside of the pouch as well as the outside of the pouch. But honestly, that's a bit finicky and unnecessary. You really do just need to do a seam right along that edge, and then that unfinished edge just nicely hides inside that pocket, especially if you're a beginner sewer. That's all you need to do. You'll be able to whip up so many of these. So that creates your pouch, and now it's time to add your Velcro. So this is my tip for Velcro. You do not, here, let me open this up. Okay, so I bought a roll of Velcro, and when I first started doing this, I just had some Velcro lying around, so I thought, perfect, I'll use that. The problem with that Velcro is it had a tacky back, like a sticker, and that stickiness is great because you can stick that Velcro right onto your pouch, but the problem is when you now want to sew that Velcro onto your pouch, it's going to gum up your sewing needle. So make sure that when you buy or order your Velcro, you make sure it's the sewing Velcro that does not have any adhesive backing. I definitely will link that down below, so check out the kind that I used here. And then once you cut just a 1-inch square, you want to put the hooks side to your Velcro onto the arm. Not because that really matters so much which one goes on the arm, but on the back of your pouch where you'll put your other piece of Velcro, it's nice to have the soft edge. That way when the arm is not attached to the back is still soft because you feel that all the time. You don't really feel that cuddle arm. It's not in the way to the same degree as the back piece of Velcro, if that makes any sense. You don't have to follow that step. You can just put the Velcro on however you feel like, but that is the way that I did it. And then the other thing that you'll want to do when you're doing your Velcro is get the stuffy that you are going to use in your Beanie Boo pouch, because each stuffy is a little bit different. So here is one of my boys' little sloths, And its arms are a bit longer, and if you have like one of those puppy dogs, then their back end is a little bit bigger. So all you want to do is kind of tuck them into your pouch to get an idea for how much space. Now, of course, I haven't done up the bottom yet, but this is just so that you can have a visual. It'll give you an idea for how much space the Beanie Boo will need for the cuddle arm to wrap around. And then once the cuddle arm is wrapped around where you like it, just mark on the back where that second piece of Velcro goes, and then you can sew that on as well. You can sew around the Velcro just in a square, or you can sew a crisscross, or for myself, I even just did a crisscross and then a square around, mainly because you will see the seam. So on the cuddle arm itself, because I'm not adding the Velcro ahead of time, you will end up seeing the seam on the front portion of your cuddle arm. So if you do a nice X, it just looks neat and tidy. And that's it. You've made yourself your very own Beanie Boo pouch. I have two other pouches here that I've shown throughout this video. So this one here, this isn't actually a Beanie Boo. So because it's been quarantine time, I went to the grocery store and all the Beanie Boos are gone, which makes sense. Every kid wants a Beanie Boo right about now, right? So my niece is having a birthday and I needed a Beanie Boo, and so I made this pouch thinking I'd be able to find a Beanie Boo to put inside, and I didn't. So as you can see, this particular stuffy is a little bit bigger. This pattern I made specifically for the Beanie Boos, not other stuffies. I had a look at all my boys' Beanie Boos, all of their Beanie Boos. The 6-inch, I should clarify, the 6-inch Beanie Boos fit in this pouch. However, if you do want to make a larger pouch, I would suggest just printing out the pattern and just measuring 1 or 2 inches out from the main piece, and you'll be able to make a larger pouch from that pattern. But either way, I hope you'll enjoy sewing this Beanie Boo pouch and enjoy giving it as a gift or giving it to your child so your child can carry their Beanie Boo with them wherever they go. All right, so with all of that said, I hope you will leave me a comment down below and let me know if you do make a Beanie Boo pouch and how it went for you. And click that like button and subscribe if you want more creative content. I'll see you next time. Bye. More creative content. Or creative content. Why can't I say that? Interested in more creative I can't say content. Creative content.